Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands or stipulations from one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord. We talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And as professional screenwriters ourselves and avid cinephiles, we'd like to believe that we can meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TCD Witt, and joining me, as always, is Jim Nosferatu Burzelic.
This is a good movie.
I referenced vampires.
Yes.
You wanted to throw. You're like, oh, what a great segue, and I'm like, no,
because in my mind they're related.
We're starting the episode now, but I've given you an opening to vampires.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to discuss about vampires?
Not anymore.
I'll change your middle name. I'll give you a different middle name.
No, I'll talk about Nosferatu. I haven't seen. I'll talk about what I haven't seen. What a great topic.
Tell me more.
The show Nosferatu.
Is
that on Showtime or HBO?
I'm not familiar with this. Is this new?
Or is that on Shudder? Yeah, it's. I think it was new as of the pandemic. It's a show starring Zachary Quinto. Haha, I remember name. Yeah, name for once. And Nosferatu, it's spelled like it's on a license plate. So like a couple of those are numbers and then like a couple letters are missing. And it's I'm pretty sure it's a modern day. I don't know if it's a modern day telling of Nosferatu because I haven't seen it. But yeah, it came out recently in Vampires, Nosferatu.
Vampires.
There you go. Yep.
We had a professor.
Sorry. It's by Joe Hill. Like it's written. It's like written by Joe Hill.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah.
I
knew there was a thing that was going to hook TC. What was the thing that was going to hook TC?
Oh man, The Black Phone, which you and I saw, in the past month or so. Joe Hill short story adapted by Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill. Really good. Much better than I expected.
Yeah.
Just a quick plug for check this movie out. Great. Actually, that may come up again later.
Oh, okay.
a little tip in my hand here. Yeah. I think we may have brought this up on the show before, but we had a professor at university, Professor McCroy, said that every generation gets their zombie and their Dracula. And at the time, zombies were 28 days later, like running zombies. And Lestat, I think, was the vampire at the time. So it was a rock star.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the generation that followed, we got Walking Dead zombies. So we're back to the Shamblers and Twilight. Twilight Dracula. Yeah. Sparkly Dracula, which funny enough ties into today's episode as well.
It does. Yeah.
Do you think we're ripe for another vampire revival? Like you just mentioned Nosferatu, which I hadn't even heard was a series. And I'm assuming it's not.
I think it's like a mini series.
It's not about the making of the movie. It's okay. Do you think it's time for vampires to make a comeback?
Zombie vampires.
Oh, you changed everything here.
I want to drink your brains.
Zampires. Okay, so Zachary Quinto stars as a zombie hunter who's freaking out because all the zombies have suddenly turned into vampires.
Oh no!
Or do vampires turn into zombies? I think that would be it. It's the vampire, like the gentleman.
The vampires
like
just kind of become dumber and slower, and somehow more dangerous.
So I Am Legend.
Yeah.
No, they were fast.
Yeah, they were fast. Yeah.
What is the movie Zampires? I mean, that might be the pitch in the studio. Like, all right, I got a movie for you. What's better than vampires and zombies? Vampire zombies. I present to you Zampires. Give me your money.
See, for whatever reason, I keep thinking Zampires is supposed to be like a portmanteau of Zach and vampires. And I keep imagining Zach Morris.
Oh, wow.
Like Zach Morris becomes a vampire and turns all of his favorite people in
Bayside, yeah.
Bayside. I was trying to remember the school. And so then it's about, because I was going to say Screech becomes the hunter, but which that actually might be entertaining, but I actually think Screech would be turned and made into Zach's Renfield.
His little Renfield, yeah. So is it Slater?
So does Slater not join the team? Oh, right. Star-crossed lovers kind of thing.
Belly.
That's not bad.
Zampire.
No, it's Belding. Oh my God, it's Belding.
Belding is your Van Helsing?
Yes.
Van Belsing?
That's terrible. What have we done?
This sort of sounds like Afterlife with Archie. Right? Are you familiar with this comic?
I am mildly familiar, yeah.
So in the comic,
Actually,
Pork Chop is not part. That's Doug's dog. Jughead's dog is. They basically pet cemetery him, and he inadvertently becomes a zombie dog, and then Riverdale
starts biting people.
And Riverdale becomes infested, and now the Riverdale clan of Archie and the gang are like hunting. They have Sabrina helping out because she's a witch.
Wait a minute, is that? Oh no, was that always a pun? Right in the. Is the reason Belding's name is because his name is Bell and thus Saved by the Bell?
Oh my God. Oh man. 25 years later. Oh, duh. Oh, wait. And now let's think about it. Does Belding often get Zach out of his own trouble? Saved by the Bell? Saved by the Belding? Like
I don't actually think that happens enough to really have that be a thing. But that works here if Belding's going to be
if he's going to be
the
Van Belding.
Van Belding, yeah.
Zampires attack. Zach Morris is a vampire. My God, man.
It explains a lot of his powers, ability to freeze time. And,
oh God, and what?
I mean, not that vampires can freeze time, but just that he has powers.
I have to suggest our listeners check out Zach Morris's Trash.
Zach Morris is trash.
Zach Morris is trash. It's just this dude who recaps every episode of Saved by the Bell and just points out what a piece of trash Zach Morris is, that he's just a straight up psychopath, like sociopath. And like, yeah, like they always point out like this girl falls for Zach, blah, 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 and she's never seen again.
Yep.
I think I like the idea of a Saved by the Bell vampire story
where all the protagonists become the villains.
Weird. What have we done? Oh wow.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Well, let's actually get into the demand for the episode. Jim,
okay.
Our amazing listeners, I don't know if you're aware, but they've given us demands from studios literally all over the world. These demands have been submitted at the studio at studiodemandsit.com or on Twitter at studiodemandsit. You can send us any demand you'd like, and we will have to meet them right here on the spot. And
all the time.
All the time.
No, not now. Oh.
And when we reach the end of the episode here, if we've done our jobs, we will have pitched a full script and story, meeting or even exceeding your demands. And when the end of the season comes, this could be the one that gets greenlit by our fans for the finale. So that's exciting. Right?
This is the first time that we're actually putting that far enough forward. We're guaranteeing it happens.
Our previous seasons, season 3, season 4, we've allowed the listeners to greenlight
2 and 3.
Season 2 and season 3, we've allowed the listeners to vote and greenlight one of our pitches, and we did Justice League 95, and we did The Amazing Spider-Man 3, and those are available to listen. If you haven't heard those, please check them out. But we're telling you right up front this year that every one of these episodes
do it again.
Could potentially be the finale episode. Yeah. So we gotta pitch our asses off.
We sure do.
But keep the demands coming. We got so many. We have a lot of really fun ones for this season and beyond. But let's get to today's demand. This comes from Danny at Twin Tigers Studio. At the end of The Batman, the Robert Pattinson.
Why are you trying to kill me?
Why are you saying that name? At the end of The Batman, Bruce has embraced hope instead of fear. He rises up to lead the people. The bat signal isn't just for the criminals to fear anymore. It's for the people of Gotham to find hope. There's a hero out there, and that hero can inspire. Find a way to insert Robin, the teenage sidekick, into the Batman sequel. Teenaged, not a full-grown man. Do not make it the mayor's kid. Use existing lore, so Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, or Damian. Make him about 15 to 17 years old, because too young is problematic. It doesn't have to be silly. Maybe he hides his Batman persona from the child he's taken in, but ultimately Robin is going to grow up in Gotham. He has a choice to grow up as a victim of the city or grow up to fight back against the evils of the world. There's a message that could be explored here. Over sheltering our children from the bad in the world can actually harm them as they grow. Bruce embraces Robin and gives him the tools to survive in this dark world. He's a sidekick, a son, a brother, and a friend. Can you two make Robin work in the world of the Batman? The studio demands it. Here we are, Jim. The Batman and Robin.
Okay. The Batman and the Robin.
The Batman and the Robin.
Well,
I took one off she took it off the table immediately. You can't make it the mayor's kid.
Yeah.
Because I think I heard you perk up. So we rewatched the Batman.
Yeah. So that's why this whole, I realized this entire intro, I've been trying to do funny little puns or introduce something to somehow segue in, and that's just a mistake. I'm not good at it. I'm 3 seasons behind on making that work. So I'm going to go back to just keeping mum about the topic.
Letting me handle it.
Yes.
That's fine. You didn't do anything. You were doing great.
Vampires have nothing to do with Batman.
People think Batman's a blood-sucking vampire.
I mean, I do. Well, crap.
Was that your idea?
That was the first one, and I didn't think it was the greatest idea. On the rewatch, I note he was in a ninja outfit, and it was a red hood, and I was like, oh, that gives me an idea. He's the right age. Oh, would that be the way to go? And he keeps showing up in the movie, and he keeps looking at Bruce Wayne.
Right.
So that's why I was thinking maybe.
You're not the first person to think this. I know after the movie came out, the conversation already began that some people were saying the kid that could be. But I think it would be a mistake to create a new Robin as opposed to just drawing from what already exists.
So
we tried that with Blake. And
I didn't know the specifics of this demand either. So as you were reading it, my other idea was also eliminated.
That's it. Well, let me hear it. Let's pitch it anyway. Let's get it all out there.
To do the girl, to
Carrie,
to pull from The Dark Knight Returns.
Sure, but it said use existing lore, and then it gave us, Danny gave us the example of the known Robins, but Carrie is just as good an option as the others. In many ways, she is a better option because it doesn't hurt to diversify the audience by giving them other analogs in the movie and having a girl Robin. Because you could even do Stephanie Brown, who is, spoiler, she's the daughter of, I think, Cluemaster as a villain. She was Robin's girlfriend. Oh,
yeah, I do know that one. Yeah.
And when Tim Drake...
Wasn't she Whisper? Was that her name?
Spoiler. Her name was Spoiler.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
She became Robin for a short period of time in the pre-52 era of the Batman and the Robin comics. So Stephanie Brown is a perfectly viable option as well. Would be a very a more B-side pick than the standard Dick Grayson, Jason Todd. I don't have any love for Damian. I know he has his fans out there, but
so the weird thing about Damian is there's a tiny part of me that I keep locked in a closet, very in a deep dark basement, that likes Damian and thinks Damian is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. For the most part, I don't. He's bad. He's bad and he's terrible. And honestly, he doesn't work as an initial Robin. He works as exactly what he is, the fourth Atta kid in a long-running soap opera.
So we've aged up everyone else. Let's add another kid.
That's sort of, yeah. And let's make him a psycho to mix it up. Right. It's don't like Damian.
I'm not a fan either. I'm very open about that. A lot has to do with what it does to Bruce, what it does to Batman as a character. Having him, imagining Pattenson having a kid that he then raises to be Robin. Of the Robins available to us to insert into the Batman, that seems like the worst choice.
Well, and then on top of it, if you eliminate other parts of Damian's past, he's Talia's
son, the grandson of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, if you start taking away those and you just make him this kind of bratty psychopathic kid, and you eliminate this other legacy that he belongs to, he's just insufferable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of the other Robins, we can you know this, I know this.
Yeah.
Running through, we got Dick Grayson, who Bruce witnesses Dick's parents getting killed, and he adopts him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the original Robin. He's the original sidekick in so many ways. He's the prototype that everyone followed after.
Yep.
And Dick Grayson, to me, is the best inheritor of the cowl to become the next Batman. Like Dick Grayson is one of my favorite comic book characters.
To do his true origin in a contemporary setting isn't impossible.
In the Batman.
Circuses exist.
Sure.
They're just very rare. Right? Like it feels like, oh wait, like it feels fake.
It feels silly. It feels silly. Not that we couldn't make it work, but Dick. So then Jason,
I have some ideas in case that's the direction we go.
Dick graduating to Nightwing and forming the Teen Titans and moving on and so forth. Jason Todd coming along and stealing the Batmobile and
is that his I actually realized in this conversation I don't know the other Robin's origins.
Jason Todd, we saw Dick Grayson and Jason Todd's origin in Batman Forever, weirdly.
Oh.
That Jason Todd is a kid from the streets. He's a little shit. Originally, pre-Crisis, they just needed to bring Robin back, so they basically gave Jason Todd, he was just Dick Grayson 2.0.
Okay.
When the Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, they rebooted everything. They gave him his own origin. He's a kid from the streets. Dick Grayson had graduated off to doing his own thing, and Jason Todd basically muscled his way into Bruce's life. And he was a tough street kid. He punchifying things. He had a different kind of motor mouth. He was just much grittier. It makes sense that he eventually becomes Red Hood because Jason Todd was a little shithead.
Yeah.
The readers eventually voted for him to die. So Jason Todd, the Robin, was killed off. And the repercussions of that was that Batman went to a dark place. And his neighbor, the young Tim Drake, who was brilliant, realized Batman had been falling apart and Robin hadn't been around anymore. He deduced with his detective skills, not only is Batman Bruce Wayne, but Batman needs Robin to balance out his darkness. And Tim Drake offered himself up to be the next Robin.
Sure.
Dick Grayson is he's an acrobat. He already was trained from birth to be acrobatic and have the skills to physically be a crime fighter. Jason Todd was from the street, so he had the street toughness. Tim Drake he's a better detective. Bruce himself has admitted Tim Drake is a better detective than he is. He's got the brains. And then Tim went off on his own. You get Stephanie Brown for a brief period of time, which I think I kind of like possibly using her. And then Damian Wayne, which we've discussed, jumping into a fake future. Then we have Carrie, who kind of has a similar origin to Tim Drake, where she sees Bruce Wayne or Batman crumbling because he doesn't have Robin, and she basically becomes his cheerleader and gives him, in his fugue state is like, Jason, you're my Robin. And she's like, my name's Carrie. Whatever, Jason, you're my Robin.
So it's a wonderful reenactment of the comic book.
Nailed it. So we have those Robins to draw from. Sure. I've already nixed Damian. We're in agreement on that. Okay. That's a lot of preamble for the Batman. The world that movie has created is not so realistic that it's like the Nolan movies, but it's because it allowed itself some of the silliness or the more comic book stuff.
It didn't quite go to a giant penny type territory.
It didn't go there.
It did the same thing Nolan did. Nolan found a way. I just want to highlight this. He found a way to do in the third Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Rises. Mm-hmm. He found a way to do the 1969. Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb. He did that in a big movie everyone took crazy serious.
Yes.
I just wanted to highlight that
he did the 66 Batman.
He did
in a modern world. Which actually is worth noting. Dick Grayson, also we saw Burt Ward play him for freaking 30 years.
It's true, yeah.
So he is the Robin people are most familiar with from just the look of him, as well as being the holy sidekick Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so the Dark Knight, or sorry, the Batman,
Yep,
did a really good job of creating this dark gothic Gotham City veneer. Like the pastiche of the Batman is very comic booky without being silly. It feels realistic without being so gritty and self-serious that they can't do things like drop head.
Yeah.
Right.
But they made the idea of drop head really work. They made the Halloween mask of the drop look kind of like Scream's Ghostface crossed with Dead Mouse, crossed with a mascot. Right.
Yeah.
Like it looked like something you could pick up at a costume shop. Which is probably actually where it came from and where they got the drop head thing for the drug. That's all backstory that who knows if they even did in the movie.
but they made it feel real.
Yeah.
So all that said, inserting Robin into this world.
Yep.
Therein lies the challenge. How do we bring him in where it doesn't feel silly, but where it can work? Like to have a 15 to 17-year-old kid becoming Robin and fighting with Pattinson's Batman.
So I have an idea.
Okay.
For Dick Grayson.
Okay.
So Carrie, my idea for Carrie fits in way simpler into pretty much the same story. With Dick, we got to build a little more room. And it all pretty much happens in the intro. The circus comes to town. That sounds ridiculous. How do you fit something like that in that world? Circuses come to town. Like it still does happen. And you have a circus and you make it dreary like it's Gotham. Not that the circus is we're the dreary circus, but just like, oh, we're in this town. It's not.
I can make it work.
It's not doing too hot, but like
I can tweak it for you. I can make it work.
Go for it.
Make it the state fair or a county fair.
Okay, sure.
And then instead of having them be trapeze artists, they could be freaking dirt bikes.
Oh, no, I was still going to have them be trapeze artists.
Okay.
And what ends up happening is a gang fight, right? Is because it's there. People go to the fair. Gangs go to where the people are, and two gangs get into a fight, and it causes Tim Drake's parents to get killed. And that tragedy actually shuts the circus down early. They're only going to be there now for a couple more days as they pack up. And Dick has lost his parents, and the rest of his family, the circus, is leaving. They're moving on. There's going to be no justice for his family, for his parents. He can't do it. He can't go on with the circus.
I need to stay here.
He's going to stay here and he's going to get vengeance.
Okay. He's okay. So having we can't leave. I need to stay here for the investigation. I need to the police need to interview me. If I leave with you, my circus family, who's going to be here to keep fighting for my family?
Yeah.
And then even staying and finding out how slow justice is or how unjust the system is. And then fine, I'll just do this myself. I'll take this in my own hands.
And he adopts the moniker as he goes out investigating on his own of Robin Hood.
Oh.
And he can still have like the orange, like an orange tinted jacket or something, and like a red hoodie that he wears underneath, something like that. Is what I was thinking. So that's where the Robin part of it comes from. He's going by Robin Hood.
I like that. Okay, I'm with it. I'm okay with this so far.
And
you said orange. Why orange? Red.
Well, because his vest always looked orange to me.
All right.
Is that a definitive shade of red?
I feel like we have a disagreement over the color palette of Robin, but that's not something to stop the movie for.
I'm fine calling it red. That's fine.
Good.
It's I always wondered why he dressed like Aquaman, but whatever. So now he's basically trying to find the guys who did it on his own. Like it might even go so far as the cops grab some random perps and they're like, these are the guys that did it. And Dick's like, no, they're not. I saw them. These aren't the guys. And they're the guys.
Listen, kid, we're the police. You're a child.
Yeah.
We'll tell you what's right.
Yeah. Something like that. And so that like even more reason that he's like, oh, I'm not going to get the justice that I'm looking for through the system. So I'm going to have to go do this myself.
That's as far as like launching an origin for a character, that works really. I think that all works. And having it start with Dick Grayson, who is the one and only, the original. This all feels like it could be the subplot within the Batman sequel. So cool. This feels usable.
Good.
And actually, this lets me. I think I have a casting idea.
Okay.
Which we don't normally do. We tend to, unless someone.
I'm realizing I'm doing that verbal. I'm doing a lot of. I'm doing a lot because like you mentioned it earlier tonight,
and now you're overthinking.
I'm overthinking it, and I'm doing it, and I'm trying not to, but I'm.
Apologize to listeners for clicking your mouth too much.
I'm sorry, listeners, for.
Stop
just
it!
Constantly ticking.
Mason Thames, the kid from the Black Phone. He is Finney from the Black Phone.
I'm making a face like, oh.
He is the appropriate age because he's only 15 right now. He is a great actor. Seriously, folks, the Black Phone is so good, and he is like barely a frame goes by that movie that he's not in. He carries the whole film.
That's true.
So we know he's perfectly capable of playing a large role, and age appropriate, great actor.
I think that's better than my suggestion. I was thinking the kid from one of the kids from It.
Which one?
So initially I was thinking the main kid, the kid who becomes the writer. Or if we went with Carrie, I can't remember the characters. The girl.
Oh,
There's only one girl.
There's only one girl in the whole thing. It's Beverly. That's
the character's name.
So you're thinking Bill, the kid who played Bill. Yeah,
he doesn't really look like a tough, but they're actors.
Yeah, act tough. Damn it,
Dick Grayson's gonna have to be tough.
Yeah, like if you went Carrie, right? Sophia Lillis, I think is the actress's name.
Beverly,
yeah. She's very charismatic. She's got like a very.
She kind of has the look
of Carrie. I can see that. Yeah. I like what you're selling with Dick Grayson. That using
and my Carrie origin would be really similar. She goes out with friends, gets attacked, gets assaulted, mugged by some gangs, and is like, "This will not stand."
Vengeance.
Yeah.
Vengeance is a thing we do in this town.
It is. Welcome to Vengeance Town.
Okay. As far as an origin of Dick Grayson goes, we've kept it pretty traditional. This is right in the line with everything that the comics have offered up for us. We've created a character who has a sense of justice in his head, who's physically capable of, even though he's small and would be like people would underestimate him. If he comes from a acrobatic family and background, give him a freaking billy club or a baton and he could beat the crap out of people in Gotham. Great. Let's set that aside for now, because what are we doing with the Batman? What is the Batman 2 here?
Yep.
We need a villain that's when last we saw Gotham, the water had the walls had come crumbling down. I think they're drawn from the 52 era, flooded Gotham. It's being divided up by the crime, the different areas of the city, very much like No Man's Land as well, where like Penguin can take over a section. Ivy's going to take over the park, perhaps.
Okay.
Right. Like we don't know, but we have a Gotham that has been flooded and is crime ridden already. And now it's like the National Guard has to step in to help with martial law to take care of this natural disaster.
So you imagine it set really close.
At least let's say a year and a half after the events of the first one.
Okay.
We don't have to make it happen immediately after. Let's say the city is kind of settled back into its norm.
Okay.
It's like, well, they gave us just enough to fix the city, and then the National Guard left, and we've been left to ourselves. So of course crime has gone up. The country doesn't care about us. So now here is Gotham City. I liked the Gotham and the Batman because it had a lot of character to it, and this just adds to its backstory as a character itself. This poor damn city has been beaten up and forgotten, like some of the cities that were ruined by Katrina or freaking Michigan, Ferguson, where the water crisis.
Yes,
there's plenty of cities in this country that
not for. Oh my God,
we're bad, socially conscious.
Flint.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Ferguson. Other terrible things.
That was Missouri.
Yes.
My God. So we're a year and a half, 2 years after the fact. The city sort of settled back into the norm. Who's our villain? Well, Oswald is the king in the ivory tower.
So I have some more ideas here, but I talked a whole bunch for Robin, so I want to let you.
Oh, I'm happy for you to keep throwing stuff at me.
Okay.
Let's discuss what I don't want. What I think we should avoid.
Okay.
I think we should avoid the Joker. I'll hint at him again, fine, but I don't want Joker to be the main bad guy in this movie. We all love the Joker.
Sure.
Quick tangent just to get it on the record. 1,000% if John Leguizamo had played Juggalo Joker, all of us would still be talking about it in a loving way, as opposed to Jared Leto's damaged Joker. Just wanted to put that out there. Apropos of the only thing, just because we're talking about Joker and you and I have been discussing that, John Leguizamo in a different timeline played that Joker. Holy shit.
You heard it here first. TC spoke good of John Leguizamo.
I don't want Joker. Riddler's done. Like we've seen the Riddler come and go.
Well, it's also actually interestingly, spoilers for the Batman. I don't know why you're here. Anyway, if the Joker is out and loose, why wouldn't the Riddler be out and loose?
Well, who's to say they didn't escape? They were locked up in Blackgate.
That was the Riddler's plan, to be safe in Blackgate when that all happened.
They're still locked up in there.
Yeah, 2 years later. Yeah.
So I say no Joker and no Riddler.
Okay.
I don't think Ra's al Ghul's a good way to go.
Nope.
I don't think Bane.
That's where this might disagree. Maybe I have an idea.
Okay, I'll hear you out, but I'll say why I don't want Bane. It's not just that we saw Bane, Tom Hardy Bane. We also had Bane as the main villain of season 5 of Gotham, played by Shane West. Okay. So we've seen, all right, I'm gonna get you, Bruce Wayne, Bane twice now in quick succession. So trying to avoid been there, done that territory. Batman has the best rogues gallery in comics. There are other villains we can draw from.
I was trying to think of what villains would match the motif that is made, that is put forward in the Batman, and Bane still really matches it.
Okay, if we're gonna go Bane, I want South American Bane. I want Luchador Bane. I want the mask. I want the whole shtick. Not in a.
I got some ideas, and we'll talk about them. But I want to stop interrupting you.
That's fine. I think we should avoid Poison Ivy as well.
Okay.
I don't know how supernatural or fantastical we can take the Batman right now, because what we have so far has stayed pretty grounded in reality.
It has.
So introducing supernatural elements or superpowered elements, we would shift this series into a certain direction. And if we're going to keep things relatively realistic, they hinted at someone like Hush.
They did.
Riddler's story is Hush-esque.
It is.
So it would feel derivative to go to Tommy Elliott. Court of Owls is one of the newest and one of the best of the recent Batman storylines. They also did do Court of Owls in Gotham as well, just to put that on record.
Gotham is going to have done everything. A lot of the stuff that would fit in this show, in this movie.
Sure. But Mr. Freeze, I would love to see Mr. Freeze redeemed from Schwarzenegger.
That's where I was going to go.
Okay. All right. So if you're imagining Mr. Freeze as a main villain here, please elaborate. How do we make that work? So
one of the things that I really, really liked about the Batman is they actually had a pretty large, I don't want to say conspiracy, right? That was overarching everything. It was the mob and government all come back around to the people it was exploiting.
The 1%
wanting to get their revenge on all of them.
Yeah, the rich eat the rich.
Right. It was what did we all get in there? We got Falcone, Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, 4. Right. did something that I thought we couldn't do anymore. Was throw so many villains into a thing, right? Since the 90s, when it was ridiculous to just jam them in the movie.
More villains,
more
please.
Villains makes more better.
When the number goes up on the title, you have to add another villain that justifies the number going up.
I see.
That's
and they did a wonderful job making it all make sense.
Mm-hmm.
They did for Batman what First Class did for X-Men. How are we ever going to do some of these ridiculous things on screen? And then they did it. They justified it with the time and the place, and it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want to do something that is going to be big in that same way, right? Like trying to narrow down to just like one person's vendetta or an unrelated thing. Just I really wasn't sure what to do. So where I started.
Okay. I'm feeling your vibe right now. I think I like what you're doing here. Go ahead, continue.
I started with Daggett.
Oh, wait, Clayface Daggett? No, the gangster Daggett.
The guy who owns the company.
Got it.
Daggett is a corporation.
Matt Hagen, Clayface, not Daggett is the guy who manipulates him.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Daggett the
gangster. If we want to do a thing with Clayface, I feel like Clayface goes too far into the unreal to put in here. I thought about it. And I'm like, I don't know how to get him in there.
We could put some
you
Easter
can think
eggs.
of something, fine.
I'd put some Easter eggs in
Sure.
there that he could potentially be. We did see Daggett in Dark Knight Rises, played by Ben Mendelsohn. We've seen him on screen before.
Yes, we did.
Gangster Daggett.
I was thinking Daggett runs a corporation. He's akin to Wayne himself. He's more of a corporate entity, and he maybe in the wake of what happened in Gotham, maybe that's the reason that they need to start cutting budgets and stuff. But Mr. Freeze, I don't remember his actual name.
Victor Fries.
His project gets cut.
Mm-hmm.
And his project, like Freeze was depending on that, on his research to save his wife.
Right.
And Daggett has no sympathy and says, no, you're out.
This R&D for the medical wing of Daggett Industries, we're shutting it down.
Mm-hmm.
You have not yielded any results that are applicable to the greater picture.
Yeah.
I hired you for pharmaceuticals to give me medication that I could sell and make money on, and you're over here trying to cure this disease. That's not enough. That's not what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You've fallen behind on what I asked. Your side project has put you. You're the reason you're being fired.
Yeah.
So thank you, Victor, but you're done.
And if anything, maybe what I would do is I'd include some, like, all of this might come up later as like a flashback for why Freeze uses the techniques he does. And I'm afraid that this all might fall a little too close to Riddler. I'm afraid I'm just doing too much copying Saw /7 type things, because what happens is Batman, like when we first see Batman in the movie, he's probably actually busting up a gang, kind of like he did in this. But there's a through line that's happening there as well. So it turns out Daggett actually cut the budget because it's pharmaceuticals, and he's putting Freeze's budget into another department, which is developing a stimulant.
The venom, the Bane venom.
Yes.
Okay.
Freeze gets cut, and what he's decided to do to get revenge, because what Daggett says, he says something mean and vindictive, and he says, all your work, I'm putting it on ice. It's consider it frozen.
I'm going to consider that a seed of an idea, fella.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's on ice. It's done.
And so what the Batman is investigating that leads him towards Freeze is he is finding certain corporate heads or managers have been frozen and smashed with oh my God,
some sort of
what's the actual super cold. Oh my God!
Oh, like liquid oxygen?
Yes, nitrogen.
Nitrogen. Okay.
Liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. And then shattered.
Yeah. Who is doing this? Why are they doing it? And it's Freeze and a handful of people of his are doing this as revenge for their project getting slashed, and Freeze in particular, because Probably instead of his wife being frozen and waiting for a cure, like she dies because she doesn't get what he was
she's not
working
in
on.
some sort of cryo tube.
No,
She's
yeah.
literally in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
And he loses her. Oh, that'd be a real powerful moment to see him like, I'm sorry. He cut it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I was like, it's okay. I forgive you. And she passes away in his arms. He's crying and he just lifts up and he starts shaking with fury. And he's like, put me on ice. I'll show you. That's silly.
Something like that. Yeah.
Getting him motivated by the death of his wife to seek revenge. He becomes somewhat of a serial killer, taking out Daggett's people.
He has a list.
Yeah.
And so Batman has to figure out what the list is.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I'm with you on this. I think I have a long way to get there, but I think I have an idea how to get Robin back into this story. Please continue.
Mine for that was the Venom is being developed, and Daggett, being the not so on the up and up as he is, he's I don't know the reasoning or whatever. He's selling it, or somehow it's making its way onto the street where Bane has moved in from Columbia, from an other
some South American
place.
Yeah,
he has come to Gotham because the drug market is open. Drop is on the out. Venom is on the in. Yeah. And so he's bringing in people and is going to war with Penguin.
Oh wow. Okay.
But it's Bane's people. That's the people that Robin is trying to get revenge on.
He's dealing with the venom heads. Yeah. Drop heads to venom heads. And is he working his way up to try to find the people who killed his parents, or will he never be satisfied? Is he going?
I'm up for either.
Okay.
But that was how I incorporated Venom into this Mr. Freeze Daggett thing is right. So it goes from corporate malfeasance. I don't know if that malpractice. Mm-hmm. I don't know if corporations can malpractice. Anyway, corporate
greed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chicanery and all the way down to street level thuggery.
And having the Batman deal with multiple things here. We have an ice killer out there. Mm-hmm. People have dubbed him Mr. Freeze, right? Mm-hmm. They got trying to figure out who's the next target. So it's another. Okay, yeah, you're kind of into similar territory here of another serial killer. Solve the mystery of the serial killer to stop him. Who's next? Mm-hmm. We've kind of been there with the Riddler.
Yeah, right? That's what I was afraid of with this story.
Let's okay, so that's happening over here. Meanwhile,
but he is a detective.
It's true. It's that he would go up against another serial killer is fine. Like I don't hate it. I'm gonna see if we can find ways to tweak it.
Sure.
We also have so that's Batman's main thing is dealing with this ice killer. Mm-hmm. Then we also have Venom has hit the streets and made the thugs harder to fight. Mm-hmm. So he's also dealing with like as Gordon says at the end of Batman Begins, escalation. So mm-hmm. these tweakers are now harder to fight. They're holding up liquor stores and carjacking people and just being general thugs out there. And who's dealing this venom that's also out on the streets that's amping these people up? We got the color scheme of this movie is writing itself, green and blue. Like we had orange and red in the Batman, and now we're dealing with the green of Venom and the blue of Ice. Finding a way to crash these two together. I think I have. Okay, let me.
It wouldn't be too hard. Freeze, in his vengeance, starts messing with the supply of Venom.
If he's because
if the Venom is coming from Daggett,
so then Bane himself would then be also upset about this Mr. Freeze. Daggett, my friend, who did you piss off other than me?
Sure.
A
lot of people. I piss off a lot. That's actually my job.
Yeah. I literally piss people off for a living. What do you want me to say? You sell the drugs, I'll handle this. No, I can't sell the drugs because the supply chain is getting some like Ozark territory here.
Sure.
With the I don't know if you or Breaking Bad, just dealing with south of the border drug dealers who are pissed off at the American side of things. All right. Spaghetti at the wall. If Freeze's hit list is short enough, or suggestion, could we reach a point where Freeze is no longer like targeting people, but basically finishing his list off and just unloading all of his tech to the streets as well? So now you got Venom tweakers and thugs who have freeze guns. So now we have like freezing, like some sort of tech versus some sort of biological weapon. You see what I'm saying?
Sort of. I don't know if I wanted like the way I'm not imagining Freeze wanting. He doesn't. He's a scientist. He's a doctor. He's not looking to get into the crime game.
Okay. He's just he's taken off his list and then he's done.
And honestly, I know it wasn't a studio demand, but I feel like one of the unsaid things is Colin Farrell needs to come back as Penguin.
Well, having him deal with Bane and the encroachment on his territory, that's so Cobblepot, Bane, Freeze, and Daggett. You have 4 villains again.
Yeah.
They made that work in the first one. I think we can make it work here. So with all those pieces in play, now it's a matter of how do Batman and Robin get together and then work together, and like that's the next thing we have to figure out here.
Sure.
Because we got the sort of things in motion here about what's going on in Gotham City with these villains. We can certainly expand on those. But the question is, how do we get Batman and Robin together and working together to stop all this? So I want you to think about that. Let's just throw to a quick break here.
Okay.
We're going to throw to a quick ad from 6.5, and we'll be right back with some more The Batman and the Robin.
Has this ever happened to you?
This video game is bullshit!
Are you tired of gaping plot holes and boring gameplay mechanics?
Look, all I'm saying is that if a full-fledged Krogan is falling off a platform, there's no way Commander Shepard has the upper arm strength to pull him up.
Has reading become just too tedious of a chore?
Ugh, books.
Are you bored of your same 3 murder podcasts?
Shocking. It's The Butler.
Allow me to introduce you to the brand new fan fiction podcast, with an X, hosted by our lovely basement-dwelling and real-life Muppet, Dan McCoy.
Well, that's hurtful.
And myself, of course, the blonde bombshell, with the blood of Odin and the great looks of Jake Busey from Starship Troopers.
That's accurate.
And with our powers combined.
No.
Oh, you never let me do what I want to do.
I said no, man. We're not doing that.
Fine. Anyway, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your fix from. Remember, fan fiction with an X.
Welcome to our new podcast. Welcome to our new podcast.
This isn't working.
Agreed. I think we're going to have to do it turn by turn.
Well, now that you mention it, we are a brand new RPG video game podcast.
Our very existence hinges on turn-based gaming.
So join us on the Turn by Turn podcast, where we'll be talking about
Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Golden Sun, Shining Force, Mother, and so many more.
It's your turn to come and join us.
How do we get Batman and Robin together? Not just that they team up, but this is a kid. We're making him 15 in this. He's 15 years old. He's a kid. He's out for vengeance. He's fighting venom tweakers out there. How do we get these two together and working together in this movie? This was the demand. It wasn't like we've come up with some scenarios here to play in with Mr. Freeze and Bane, Daggett, and Cobblepot. That's great. Even you like pitched a very modern, wonderful reinterpretation of Dick. So what do we do here? How do we get Pattenson with his new sidekick and make it work?
Sure. What if they cross paths very early? We're going to actually have them cross paths 2 or 3 times. The first time, either he saves him. Batman actually saves
the kid.
Saves Dick Grayson.
If we open this movie with the death of Dick Grayson's family.
Yep.
Then we then essentially cold opening it we'll throw the title at the beginning, boom, go. Dick Grayson's parents are killed, his family's killed.
Honestly, I would do. In my mind, I see a cold open. The circus comes to town, says something about like it doesn't feel right. This place isn't gonna get us much.
Following a gang coming in, dealers dealing behind,
or as they're setting up the tent or something, they see like an encampment of people who are eyeballing them. An encampment of people that isn't just homeless people. Like,
right.
and it's some Venom heads.
It go Venom. Well, things go south. Dick's family's taken out. He's left sad.
Yep.
And swearing vengeance.
It's sad.
And then cutting to our
and like the last shot is I'm seeing like the last shot being the circus guy, the manager being like, look, Dick, we can't stick around. Yeah. Here's $500.
Yeah, man.
Call me when you need a bus ticket.
And you can catch up to us.
Yeah.
And then cutting to
and then the trucks just leaving and Dick standing there.
And then cutting to the title and then having year 4. The city's changed since getting right into the Batman narrative, which is echoing what they did in the first one. Hearing Batman exposit where we are now and discussing there's a new drug out there, Venom. Right. That seems to be his main focus right now.
Well, and because of the it's not even an Easter egg because he actually used it. At the end of the Batman, he used the Venom.
That's right. Yeah, I was very excited when that happened.
It would be I would want it to be the same product. So he would know about that. He would know somehow that which only very few people previously had access to is now all over the streets.
I can't but wonder if this is my fault.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if his main focus is the drug operation that's happening, Cobblepot's involvement, we could see Penguin's involved again.
He's trying to stop a drug war.
That's exactly what his main focus is right now. The Batman's goal is to prevent this drug war, this escalation of dealing, the people and the heads of these there's a South American contingent versus Cobblepot trying to control Gotham. What's nice about the 4 villains you've put on the map is that they all have something against each other, like Daggett and Cobblepot, Daggett and Bane. Cobblepot and Bane, Cobblepot and Batman, everybody's crossing paths on the whiteboard. I'm mad at you, you're mad at me, but we're also mad at the same person, so why can't we team up? Hey, Bats, we kind of have the same goal here. Wouldn't you rather the devil you know than the devil you don't? Cobblepot, I don't want you or anyone in this city. That sort of, come on, we were friends, we go way back.
You need me, I speak Spanish.
So you suggested that Batman saves Robin early.
Yeah, and the very first time, and it could even be probably Robin's first encounter with the gang. Batman saves him, says, "Go home, kid. I don't have a home."
Yeah.
And maybe he's whatever, go home. And so then he encounters him a couple more times, each time later in the fight, and Robin's holding his own. So by the third one, he's already taken out the gang by time Batman finishes stomping in or something like that.
I did your job for you. We're kind of giving him, because he's playing in the streets, we're touching into some Jason Todd territory, which I'm fine with. I'm sure some purists would want to see us go a different way, but realistically, we're not getting 50 movies out of here. We need to use the best stuff as much as we can, because we're never going to go anywhere else with it, right?
Or even in that third fight, the third fight happens on the streets, or it even happens under the bridge near where the circus was, and the fight finishes and Batman comes out of the shadows and he sees Dick go and lay back down with a blanket he found. He says, You're staying here? He's like, yeah, this is all I have now. And so that maybe that's when he's like, okay, you're coming with me.
Yeah, I that's something. That's something there. To have Robin take out the guy who did it, fight him, or finally find the guy who was responsible for it and punchify him, but he can't bring himself to kill him, and to be to defeat him and then be sobbing and having Batman not help him, just basically witness what has happened and then approach him and have that
I was just thinking just some random street toughs are trying to rough him and a few other homeless people up. Batman finds him, takes him in. From there, now he's all okay, I'm going to go do my thing. Alfred will take care of this kid. And the kid immediately is wait, where are you going? No.
Oh, Bruce finds him, not Batman. I see.
Oh, no. I was thinking Batman finds him.
Okay, so Batman right from the get says, you're coming with me.
Yeah. Well, no, like the third encounter. Sorry.
Not right away. Not right away. But I halfway through the movie.
Right. Like the first act. The first act finishes with Robin coming home
with Bruce,
with Batman.
With Batman. Yeah. And him just being straight with him. Especially if he sees this kid just crying, like just defeated and broken, and he feels a sense of injustice. He's never going to fill that void at the loss of his family, and Bruce being able to relate to. He also just
watched this kid basically, like he sort of learns the kid's story backwards. He sees he has the skills that a Batman, that a vigilante would require. And then he sees the kid just living there in the street. So he goes and he talks to him. He finds out the backstory. He's like, that's where he sees the parallel. Is my thought.
There's an incredible episode, 2-part episode in the animated series where we see Robin. It flashes back to when his parents first die. And the person who did it has gotten out of jail, and adult Robin is like wants vengeance, and they do this back and forth through time. It's a really great 2-part series, one of the finest of that already fine series. But having the moment of Robin hugging, like Bruce and Robin hugging of that 2 orphans, to that understanding of like I know, I understand, I get it. Let me help you. Like Bruce seeing enough of himself in this kid to be like.
The other option would be to have that moment later in the movie, sort of like when Bruce finally forgives and accepts Alfred in the Batman. Have that happen later in the movie. The whole time Batman's trying to push this kid away. Like, no, you get off the streets. Stop doing this. Go try to be a person, and he just won't.
How am I going to be a kid in this city?
Yeah,
after everything I've been through, you don't know me.
So, yeah, something like that.
Give him that little bit of chip on the shoulder without being a shit. Like we as the audience will have experienced every step of the way with Dick Grayson, so we understand where he's coming from, and Bruce trying to push him away until I think having the moment of like realization of, oh, this kid and I have a lot in common. Let me help. Let me give you a warm meal and a place to lay your head.
Yeah,
I mean we know
that's why I was thinking that would be earlier, and then it would be Dick tenaciously saying to Bruce, or Robin saying to Bruce, no, I'm coming along. You're not going to I'm not a kid. You're not going to just treat me like a kid. I'm getting my vengeance one way or another. This hot meal was nice, but you're not going to stop me.
Yeah. Okay. I having a little bit of levity, even of like, stay here, Bruce going to do his thing, turn around, he's right at his side. Like, what are you doing? You think I'm staying here? I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
If you know where this Bane is,
I'll come with you.
I'm gonna know where this Bane is.
How many fights have you won against Venom tweakers? How many fights have you won? A lot. I've been doing like, because Dick does offer a little bit of levity. Something the Black Phone did really well with Finney, the main character, is there's weird charm and humor in the darkest of moments within that movie, which is why I immediately thought of this kid for a Robin. To have something so serious allow itself to smirk every now and then. Okay, so getting them together, okay, we have a way to get them together, but how do we, why? Like what benefit do we have of what needs to happen that Batman and Robin work together to defeat? Right, we know who our villains are. We got Bane out there trying to drug operate. We got Daggett, who's essentially responsible for all this. We got Mr. Freeze murderizing people. We got to tie that together and tie it away in such a fashion that Batman needs Robin. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know that's a big ask.
The more realistic the story, the more I can't imagine. It's hard to imagine any adult saying, I need this
15-year-old kid
watching my back. Right, like Kick-Ass did a good job talking about that. Like, no, this is not a way to raise a child.
And Kick-Ass is, and especially Millar doing it, is a lot of like, look how dumb this is.
That's true.
I think Dick Grayson.
That's true. Whereas Leon, or the professional, kind of, I mean, granted, being trained to be a sniper is a little different.
Dude, you've just evoking that. You've now given us a direction for these two characters.
Okay.
By evoking Leon, we now are in a place of like, oh, okay. You've
Actually,
put
because that's the same like gritty, realistic feel as well. Okay.
Yeah, now you're onto something there. That if is it Matilda or Matilda?
Matilda.
She's persistent in wanting to be in this life, and Leon is like, well, okay, fine. Let me show you the ropes since you're going to do it anyway.
Now that's the excuse. There is it was played to be a bit more cute, and Leon himself, as his boss, sort of suggests is he's always been a little simpler anyway, and he doesn't speak good English, and there's a lot of reasons that he gives in.
He's childlike as well,
instead of adamantly saying no.
Okay. Then I think,
but I'm making excuses.
No. I think Dick Grayson keeps going whether Batman wants him there or not. Even after he says, "I'm giving you a place to sleep. I'm giving you what you need. Why do you keep coming out? And why do I keep finding you out here?" It's like, because the job's not done. I'm not going to, I don't want to be until these people are off the streets. Families are going to keep losing family members. People are going to, I have a reason to be out here. I don't want more of me. So I'm going to stop more of me. Like, I have more work to do, and Bruce is going to appreciate that.
Sure.
And it's going to be Alfred who's going to go, listen, what's it?
I was going to say, should like Batman have recordings of these things and Alfred even suggest something akin to that earlier? Like, oh, who's that kid?
Yeah. Well, I caught him fighting some Venom tweakers. I like his style. Yeah. He's good anyway. Back to this whole this freaking ice murderer, right? Oh, that kid again. Alfred's going to be the one of like, he's doing it, whether you're going to let him do it. You can't give this kid permission. He's obviously made his choice. I know a 15-year-old who made his own choice. Yeah. Is that right?
And the adult that had to let him do it.
Yeah. Basically, Alfred's saying like, he's you, Bruce.
Yeah.
He's doing what you did.
And you're in my position to either facilitate or watch him drown trying to do it.
There we go. Yes, Alfred Pennyworth coming in for the win here. So would you have stopped if I tried to stop you?
No, that's the wrong one. You got to work. On your.
I can't.
You got to
work in Andy Serkis here.
Yeah, you got to work on your Andy
Statham.
Serkis.
Oh no. Yeah, it's Alfred's the key here of bringing it to his attention. Be like, this kid is out there. You're not going to stop him. Mm-hmm. You are part of the reason someone like him is out there doing what they're doing. You've given people hope, and you've inspired villains as much as you've inspired heroes. Make sure this kid doesn't get himself killed. Give him the tools he needs. He already has some. Give him the rest. That encouragement.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
And so then,
so then he shows up. All right, Alfred, I did what you said. Now help me take care of this kid.
Make sure he gets a hot meal. So then, if at first it's, look, if you're going to be out here doing this, here's a utility belt. Here's some equipment.
Okay.
Like giving him a couple extra things to you. Like, hey,
it'd be kind of funny if on the second time they encounter each other, he's already throwing batarangs or whatever, because he picked them up after Batman left.
I don't know if we ever see Batman fire a batarang.
He has not used batarangs.
So then Robin,
all he's used so far is the grappling hook.
Robin's created shurikens that he's using. Oh, sure. Right, like he's from the circus, so knife throwers. Like he would already have the skills. Maybe Bruce never even considered that. This Batman hasn't fired off any.
That's true.
Any batarangs,
projectiles.
Yeah. So then that's Robin's thing. It's like, and then later in the movie, you see Batman just like whip one of those things and like,
no guns. It's not a gun.
It's not a gun.
Whoops! Knife in your neck. No, not like that.
Okay, so we're working Robin into the story really nicely, but it's still like, where does this go? What is it?
Sure, we don't. The drug war is ramping up.
Robin needs to save Batman, and there's two people that Batman can go up against that would put him in a position of needing assistance, either Mr. Freeze or Bane.
It could be during a fight where they encounter each other. So Bane is trying to find out who's freezing these people because they're getting in the way of his supply.
God, I'm just thinking
and
of
Daggett
Lalo.
can't do it himself.
You're not watching Better Call Saul, but anyone who's been watching Better Call Saul, imagining Bane as Lalo Salamanca is everything.
He's the guy who didn't like chili powder from Breaking Bad, right? Is that the same guy? Is that the same?
No,
It's a
that's
different guy?
Tuco. That's
Tuco.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lalo is I'm dying. You talk.
Yeah. Well, so as far as casting goes, I felt really limited. I don't know who really to cast, and I was thinking someone big. And right now, I don't think he does accents very well, I believe. But Dave Bautista for Bane was where I was starting.
Okay. Well,
honestly, I was starting at The Rock because he has the right shape, but The Rock also doesn't do accents, and I don't know if he's going to do bad guys anymore.
And he's not serious enough to pull off. I don't.
He wasn't.
I'm dying.
I think he can be.
Okay.
But either way,
Bane's-
I actually think not the Rock. That's that.
Yeah.
No.
Don't worry about casting. Bane's
no,
seeking out Mr.
okay.
You want to cast? Go ahead.
Well, that was
selling-
one way I was vamping.
You
but
were selling.
Also,
you were selling Batista.
I think that it is a fun thing that we don't that fans
Ask for.
like to do that we don't do often enough. And this was a little opportunity as you were choking
on water. If it's Batista, I love Batista. I think he's awesome. Like thinking of Blade Runner 2049.
That's the role that makes me think he could do a Bane in a more serious / realistic portrayal here.
Well, moving away from casting per se,
Sure.
you were saying Bane is trying to seek out Venom or Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, so Batman's not the only one investigating. Batman and the cops aren't the only ones investigating who is freezing these Daggett employees. It would also be Daggett would have basically sent Bane. Not that Bane necessarily works for Daggett, but I would say Daggett is a smooth enough operator that he's able to get these Venom heads to go after them. So there's a fight between Freeze and his small group of people, his small cohort.
And his cadre of villains would be scientists and engineers. Like they're not street thugs. They're brains that were also screwed by Daggett.
Yeah.
And so
and they were looking to jump some slimeball CEO, and Bane and his guys managed to intercept them. So during a fight in which people are getting hands frozen and other people getting their
legs frozen and shattered, they did that in Gotham Central, the comic. Mr. Freeze is the first villain in the Gotham Central comic. There's a moment where cop gets his legs frozen then shattered. And he's like, oh,
right, because that's what Freeze and these guys would have available. Is they brought a whole bunch of
bloodless dismemberment.
Liquid nitrogen.
Bloodless dismemberment keeps our PG-13 rating.
Oh, there you go. So there's this fight, this essentially gang fight.
Venom tweakers versus
Batman
Freeze
and
agents.
Robin kind of show up, and Robin totally has Batman's back here. Is that would be the fight where I think Robin would prove himself indispensable to Batman. I don't know how. I don't know the detail where he's like, oh yeah, this kid definitely had my back. Honestly, it'd probably be when one of the tweakers just can't. Batman's maneuvers just don't stop him because he's tweaking.
Like
on
if
Venom.
Bane himself.
Sure.
We've seen Bane, the drug lord, but he hasn't ingested anything.
Oh, sorry. I for a little while, I was entertaining the idea of trying to do Bane breaking Batman's back and having Azrael be another vigilante that was already out in the city.
No,
I was trying to remember who else I could include, and like, would Anarchy maybe be out in the streets?
Get out of here. You've gone too far. You've gone too far. If
this was before I kind of landed on the Bane Freeze Daggett kind of thing.
Bane,
I've been thinking gang wars sort of the whole time.
Okay. But Bane juicing up and then kicking Batman's ass and Robin coming in and imagining that there's a limited spree on the juice, the venom, so that Batman's fighting directly, like he's on the offensive and they're going back and forth. Batman's getting taken down. If Robin comes in and just annoys Like, that's one of Robin's things. If you want to joke about him being the decoy kid, fine. But if he tires Bane out, like,
Sure.
get over here. And he's like the kid, and he's just flipping around and like keeping him moving while Batman recovers. And Bane is like, his clock is ticking on when the juice is going to settle. And Robin is just wearing him out. That gave Bruce enough time to get up and frickin' tase the hell out of Bane. And then Robin can get Bruce out of there.
What if instead of Venom, like, having this like really short run, and then he gets tired, he loses the power. What if instead he just keeps injecting himself, but he has a timer. Like, if I go past this, it'll be deadly.
Oh,
so
like how much he can have in how much period of time?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Robin basically harries him long enough that he kind of hits that limit. Like, we see the Venom even
Start.
like spidering up through his veins and stuff, and like he hits the timer hits, and Bane like looks at his, I don't know, his pocket watch.
He's looking at his
and
Fitbit.
is like,
It's his Fitbit.
yeah, and he's all like, next time, Bat, and backs out, calls his men out.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's there. Yes. I having Robin be the reason Bane can't kill Batman is great.
Next time, Bat. Next time your boy Wonder won't stop me.
Yeah, there we go. Sneaking that in there. Okay. Yes, great set piece. It's the Freeze and his guys. Basically, all of them get taken out. Whether it's the GCPD showing up at the end of this, Venom's guys or Bane's guys are taken out. We've reached a point now where like Freeze is out there, Bane got away. We've stripped down their gangs essentially. What's the big final fight here? What's the big? What's the stadium in the Batman is the big final set piece here, right? So to determine what the big final set piece is who's our big bad in the end. It's Mr. Freeze. He's out there like legitimately murdering specific people. Bane's out there littering the city with drugs.
Yeah.
We also have Cobblepot and Daggett. Like Daggett.
So Daggett
is really our big,
would actually
big problem
be
here.
Yeah. Daggett would be Freeze's top target.
So
and
Freeze is trying to get to Daggett. Daggett's responsible for Freeze's existence and the drug existence. Bane also wants Daggett.
Well, I don't. So that one I don't get how.
Okay,
I think Bane is on Daggett's side. He may be annoyed with him that he has to do all the dirty work while you get to sit with your soft hands up in your office.
Oh God! In fact, Bane would actually benefit from Daggett getting taken out, wouldn't he? Like, because
that's why. So the whole time he needs Daggett because Daggett supplies him the venom. Maybe there's a subplot that we established that he's figuring out how to make it on his own. No,
Penguin is.
Oh,
because then Penguin can pit them against each other. Bane takes out Daggett. Penguin just climbs the ranks even higher in the city's hierarchy.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to kill me? I got a solution to your venom problem.
Okay. So we would have a scene. Okay. I was trying to avoid Bane messing with Daggett because I feel like that's a little too much like The Dark Knight Rises. When Daggett's all like, I tell you what to do. And he's all like,
not anymore, break your neck.
Yeah. Because that's essentially what we're building up to here is that Bane then shows up and Daggett's like, good, you can take out this crazy guy.
This Mr. Freeze over here.
And he's all
That's
like,
Dr. Freeze.
I don't need you anymore.
Yeah. Okay. We're kind of into similar territory here.
I do. That's a wonderful use of why is Penguin in this movie,
right?
Other than like Scarecrow is a person in Nolan's universe. Cobblepot deserves to be more than background dressing here, and him climbing the ranks of now being the supplier of Drop and Venom.
Well, okay. Is Penguin gutsy enough to set Bane up to say, you know what? Let Daggett get taken out. You don't need him as a supplier anymore. I'll be your supplier. Don't hurt me, Bane. Okay, cool. And then once Daggett is taken out, Cobblepot drops a dime on Bane and turns him into the cops. Although Cobblepot has proven himself against rats, so maybe that's not the way to go.
Yeah, no, that's not the way to go.
Okay. I would love to see Bane walk away from this movie like, I'm going back to South America. Maybe I'll be back. This city's not worth the trouble. Penguin, you win. The city's yours. I'm out. Right? I don't know if that's just to. We don't have to always capture and or kill our villains.
We don't, and that would be fun if there's some sort of fight between Penguin and Bane, and Penguin gets the upper hand and says, "You go home, and I'll send you a whole new batch of venom. You don't need to worry about where it came from. You won't need to worry about a supply being interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
You just stay out of my city, and I'll stay out of your, and I'll keep sending you product."
And Bane says, "Okay."
Right after, because in this fight, Penguin's Bane himself doesn't lose. Like no one's gonna. I kind of feel like no one's gonna beat Bane.
Mm-hmm.
You can wear Bane out. You can run, but you can't hide. So all that happens is basically Penguin takes out enough of his guys that he's like, look, this isn't worth it. Here's a deal.
Mm-hmm. Take it.
That is that entertaining on screen to have our heroes not be involved?
It all depends on how, so now with this scenario, we're painting our finale being down to Mr. Freeze versus Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And
they're defending Daggett at this point.
So there needs to be a big action set piece to finalize this movie. We don't want to go, oh, Mr. Freeze is going to freeze the city, right? We're not going to Batman and Robin territory. That's very cartoonish. What can we do if Mr. Freeze ends up being our big final boss?
Mm-hmm.
And Batman and Robin do have to defend Daggett, the asshole that he is. Batman and Robin versus Mr. Freeze. What can Mr. Freeze do on a big action finale set piece level that would be worthy of the end of this movie? Because I don't think if that can work, like if we come up with something that works for that exciting big finale, then yeah, Bane and Penguin cutting a deal where Bane leaves and Penguin just rises the crime ladder that much more. That I like that, and that can work, but we still need to finish this movie off with Batman and Robin versus our Mr. Freeze, our big bad. He becomes Kaiju Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
He gets in a big mech. He's Mecha Mr. Freeze.
God Frieza.
Right. So what can we have as a big finale here that finishes this movie off in an exciting way? And I'm demanding it from you, but I'm also thinking, I'm asking the question like that, so it gives me time to think of an answer. Is that the way to go though? To finish this movie off with a Freeze fight? Because the Arkham games, both Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, have great Mr. Freeze subplots and levels.
Okay. But
Freeze is not, at least in the games, ever placed in a position where he's the final boss.
Sure.
So we're creating a scenario where he can be the final boss. If it's tech related, we already had bombs in the first one, but okay, just throwing it out there. He's going to blow up Daggett's building in the middle of the city. He's going
right, or at least his offices to get him.
He's going to take down the whole Daggett Towers. It's going to collapse in the city. The city already is suffering from flooding and bombs previously. If we don't want to repeat bombs, what else do we got?
I feel like it's anticlimactic, but Freeze could just be on the run at the end here. Mm-hmm. Batman could get him and basically convince him to turn himself in, or maybe he just takes him in, and the denouement is news footage of Freeze giving up Daggett Industries, Daggett Pharmaceuticals, for dealing venom.
So Daggett's the one who goes to prison.
Or he's at least about to be deposed. There's about to be a huge, they're going to court basically.
Freeze, if you want justice, it's not killing Daggett. It's having him face his day in court. You have everything we need to lock this guy up. Stop trying to fight us. Work with us. That's the justice that's the justice your wife deserves. If vengeance won't get you anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Batman proved that himself. He showed that to Robin to say vengeance isn't the answer here. Justice is the answer.
I mean, that's not a big set piece. I guess it could be if he's like running through steam tunnels and freezing people with steam and I don't know.
We need something. Okay, so let's back up. Let's look at all the Batman movies we've got. What's the finale in Batman 89? It's
Joker falling off.
Joker. It's the fight in the clock tower. Joker falls to his death. Batman Returns. It's a fight in the sewers against Penguin and Catwoman.
And Penguin. I forget exactly how he dies, but he does
black goo.
And then his penguins pallbearer him into the water.
Batman Forever. It's in a tower. Batman has to choose between Chase, Meridian, and Robin. He picks them both. He fries Riddler's brain, and he makes Two-Face fall to his death.
Forgot about that. That's not a choice, by the way. Choose one or two. I choose three.
C above all of the above. Batman and Robin, Mr. Freeze here, has frozen the entire city, and they need to unthaw it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's not do that.
No.
Batman Begins. We have the train heading towards Wayne Tower.
Okay. What if we did a variation? What could freezing the city mean? This could take place in winter. This movie could be in the winter time.
Sure.
And Freeze, not being able to get his revenge on Daggett Pharmaceuticals specifically, decides to, I don't know how he would do it. What if he freezes all the pipes, freezes the water?
Mm-hmm. Funny enough.
I mean, that's actually more of a long-term siege type thing. It's like, all our water's frozen and we're all immediately, and it doesn't feel, it's not that same sort of visceral type thing. It would be very bad if the water supply was entirely cut off.
Would the circus come to town in the winter? Or we can have some period of time pass.
Yeah, classic winter circus.
I love the classic winter circus. Oh my God, the childhood memories I have.
You are right.
Going to classic.
You are right. They would not come to town in the winter.
Just a pitch meeting or cinema sends at you.
Yeah.
Winter circus.
They came in the summer, and it's several months later. That's how long Dick Grayson's been living on the street trying to get revenge.
You know who planned this? Ben Wyatt planned the winter festival in Gotham.
It's true. Yeah.
What was that called? Ice.
His not Ice Prince. He was the Ice.
It's from Parks and Recreation.
Yeah. Oh.
Freezing the pipes. No, I don't know. So Batman Begins. We have a train with a device that's heading towards the central water source of the city, and it's going to blow it up. We have Dark Knight. We have the two ships that are going to blow up that Joker has put the two bombs on. Dark Knight Rises. Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb. And the Batman, we have the seawalls have fallen. The incels have taken over the Madison or Gotham Square Garden.
I found it.
Okay, what is it?
Ice Town costs Ice Clown his town crown.
So those all being the climaxes of the movies we've seen previously. We've slowly escalated to the full city being at risk. I don't know if this is entertaining to listen to us list what it can't be and keep asking the question.
Well, the city's been at risk multiple times.
Yeah. Having the final fight be up in a tower, up like a rooftop of Freeze going after Daggett. Daggett's defending himself. We've already removed Bane from the equation.
The other way to do it, I don't know why Penguin would be there. The other way to do it is to have a big fight in Daggett's office or something like that, with Bane there, with Penguin there, and because Penguin finds out the source of the venom, and it's Daggett, so he goes to take him out directly.
I think I got something.
And so Bane is now fighting Penguin, and then in that standoff, as Bane strangles two of Penguin's men, Penguin, who will be next, is like, "Listen, Bane, I got a deal for you." And basically, as he finishes killing Penguin's guys, like his timer is nearly up anyway, and he says, "I agree to your terms." Daggett's all like, "Bane, where are you going?" He's like, "I have a new supplier," and he walks out.
Okay.
And then Penguin also basically sneers at Daggett and says,
"Gotcha."
Yeah. and he walks out.
If Batman and Robin are taking on just the security team that Daggett has put in place, or they're trying to stop Mr. Freeze at the same time, I like the idea of getting Bane out of the equation that way. This might be too much for whatever the case.
This is. I don't know if this is feeling like the Batman.
That's where
scenario.
my concern was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw out a fantastical suggestion here. If the final fight takes place at the drug facility where the Venom is being created, if Bane has been removed from the equation and Cobblepot's out of the equation, Daggett's there, Batman and Robin, Mr. Freeze. If Freeze has made the choice that he's going to kill Daggett and be done with it, what if Freeze,
the bad guy wins?
What if Mr. Freeze injects himself with the Venom? So now we have Venom, like Bane,
we have Bane Freeze.
On paper, in talking about the Riddler in the Batman, just on paper, it sounds very silly and cartoonish and comic booky, but they found a very realistic way to handle it. So what I'm suggesting here of like Mr. Freeze juices himself up to like tear apart the facility and Batman and Robin have to fight him.
So a thing to note about this Venom, unless we change it for the sequel, I mean, granted, he's in a dark, like near metal suit, so we don't necessarily see it, but the Venom that is portrayed at the end of the Batman, I like in that it is a drug, like it's a drug and it acts like a drug. Unlike the Venom from the comic book and the cartoon, I don't think anyone should literally, physically, visibly get bigger.
Correct.
While they're on it.
Yes.
So Freeze taking the Venom wouldn't have the look, right? It wouldn't look. He wouldn't be a Freeze Bane,
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah,
right.
So that wouldn't happen.
He's just stays the same size.
Yeah, he's
juiced
just
up.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yes.
Well, but what I'm saying is, I don't know, because I feel like that's why you do that. What happens when Mr. Freeze has the Bane Venom? Oh, he becomes crazy powerful Freeze. Nothing can stop the Freeze when this is just a dude on meth, right? Like, so
that's essentially what it is.
Yeah. I think that doesn't make for the climax that the comic books or who was it that, not Verhoeven, who made the 90s Batmans?
Tim Burton.
Nope. The other ones.
Oh, Bruce Timm?
Batman and Robin.
Oh, Joel Schumacher.
Thank you,
yes.
Joel Schumacher. Right? Where it's not a Joel Schumacher visual.
Okay, if Daggett juices himself up so he can punch Mr. Freeze in the face, like that gives him, if he's on his own product.
I like that better.
If Daggett...
And because Daggett, A, isn't going to know the limitations, and B, is going to ignore the limitations. So he's just going to OD on Venom?
Or just put him in a position to be that much more of a physical threat. Because can we have an army of goons to fight again like we did in the Batman? How is the city at risk here? Or does the city need to be at risk? We've already had quite the adventure here with street fights constantly. We've got Batman fighting Bane, Batman fighting Mr. Freeze, Robin involved in fighting Bane. Now we've got Robin and Batman fighting Mr. Freeze and Daggett just shooting up.
So the idea here is that the city's been in danger this whole time. The city is riddled in gang war. And the climax here is this corruption goes all the way to the top of the ivory towers of Gotham. And it's not about government this time. It's about corporate stuff. So the one angle I don't know how to incorporate here is how we could somehow involve Wayne Enterprises. How could Daggett get Wayne Enterprises tangled up in this? So maybe like that's how Batman has to fight ultimately fight Daggett. Like he can get him punched out, but in the end, the way that it gets taken down is either corporation versus corporation, or the corporate crimes come to light. You are right. It needs to be a fun, exciting climax.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to do that, but thematically, I feel like that's what we are building, what we've been building, and I feel differentiates itself
from the Batman,
while still kind of following in that same pattern.
So if they can beat him physically, but it's more important to beat him publicly.
Yeah, because you could break his bones, but he's still going to run a company that is poisoning the streets.
Yeah. Thanks, Alfred. That's some good. You can go out there and you can break his bones, but he's still going to be running a corporation. Yeah, that's what you said is better than how I tried to say it. But that's a good Alfred line. I'm basically telling the audience as well, as like, you've had your fights. The best way to beat this guy is publicly.
Yeah.
Thinking noises. Dead air.
So maybe Freeze, and I was going to say maybe Freeze is going to, now that he's been outed, is going to go kill himself, and so Batman needs to stop him so that he can testify. That, I don't know if that feels cool.
Cool. Hey, we have not riddled this thing with puns, so the fact that you got a cool one. The defeating Daggett on a rooftop fight or in the facility, right? That's a good final place to have the final confrontation. Yes, Daggett is our final villain. That's the one that needs to be taken out, but he needs to be taken out in the press, in the public eye.
Yes.
So Freeze killing him does not do that. So Batman and Robin have to show up to stop Mr. Freeze from killing Daggett.
Yes.
So the final fight is Mr. Freeze versus Batman and Robin.
Okay.
So stopping Freeze in this finale, if he's got, if it's just him and he's just blasting his ice gun or ice bullets.
I think he'd probably still have a few other people
for Robin to fight.
Yeah, for the two of them to get through building security, stuff like that. Otherwise, we're gonna have to do something, and it wouldn't be impossible. But we'd have to do something like make Freeze some sort of Iron Man suit that shoots cold.
Mm-hmm. If in the final confrontation of Freeze and Daggett, if once Batman and Robin show up, if Daggett keeps trying to leave and Robin keeps flipping over to him and like yanking him back into the room and saying like, no, you're not leaving, and then going back to the fight, and then Daggett tries to get up and Robin's over again like, hey, excuse me, you need to stay here. Like, just I'm being a little silly about it, and it couldn't be hilarious, but that sort of
we would write it better than right now. If
broad strokes.
You're pitching it sounds very Spider-Man-esque,
right? And it can't be that. We've done Spider-Man, but keeping Robin in an active kinetic role where Batman is this tank ready to punch the crap out of people, and Robin is bouncing around, keeping Daggett away from Freeze, but not letting him get away.
But also keeping security away from Freeze.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces on the table, and it's Batman trying to beat Freeze.
Subduing Freeze and getting him out of there.
Yeah. Beating Freeze into submission and talking sense into him. Killing Daggett is not the answer. You need to take him down in court. Like, justice, it needs to be served. And you also need to go to prison for your crimes. You've murdered a bunch of people. And in the tradition that Mr. Freeze is now a part of, thanks to the Bruce Timm 90s cartoon era, he is typically now someone who can be reasoned with. That sure. Mr. Freeze is not a supervillain. He's not trying to take over the world. He's not trying to. His supervillain quality comes down from a lot of like seeking justice or trying to save Nora. So this is a character who can be reasoned with, and he's murdered all these people. So for Bruce I just have to punch you into submission and talk enough sense in you to stop you.
I think what would help with that is if we have a scene earlier, not necessarily at the beginning, where maybe Freeze tries to go that route, but Daggett has some cops on the inside. So when Freeze tries to give himself up, he can't because they're going to take him out. So he's like, oh no, the only way I'm getting revenge is to kill him. So then Batman has to promise him and convince him
justice. Batman can promise that all he wants, but the one person that we have in this movie who has lost loved ones and Freeze and Robin both lost loved ones at the beginning of this movie. Robin can have the final say in this, or the final. Robin can. Yes, Batman has faced tragedy, but he's embraced that to become the Dark Knight. But Robin as a character who also loses someone at the beginning of this the result of Venom. To
Venom, yeah.
To Daggett. Robin's in the position to talk that final sense into Freeze. Be like, if I've learned anything, vengeance isn't the answer. I don't. Clearly, it needs to be better than that. To have a kid convince this maniac to chill and not do what he wants to do.
That's two.
I'm sorry.
Two.
We're allowed one more, people. So we get a big final fight, punch with our villain in a realistic manner. We don't need to juice him up. We can juice Daggett up if we want, but basically coming down.
I don't think either of them need to juice. Now I'm seeing a scene where Freeze is stalking through the halls in like a flak vest and a Lethal Weapon 2, I think, started with like a dude in the streets with flamethrowers.
Yeah.
And like he was covered in steel, so bullets weren't penetrating him.
Yes.
So I'm imagining that, except with like these liquid nitrogen shooters instead.
He's like got Anton Chigurh, No Country for Old Men, like hydraulic
kind of, yeah.
Poof, 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 and he's just shooting liquid nitrogen bullets.
Oh no!
People.
Well, I mean, if he shoots a stream, basically like deadly super soakers.
Yes.
Sounds stupid, but yeah,
we can make that work.
Basically stalking through the halls of Daggett Pharmaceuticals, holding back security, shooing off Batman and Robin, chasing after Daggett.
Yes, stopping Freeze. Okay,
and so that way bullets are pinging off of his reinforced liquid nitrogen containers and the armor he's wearing. So in that way, the one man could probably get in, and he knows the building. He used to work there. So one man could get into the building since his accomplices have been taken out.
Even if he has a couple left.
Yeah.
Okay, so one stitch to put through this whole play, because I think we got something here. I think this we've
or he could even be using a gun. And he's saving the liquid nitrogen for Daggett. Because it's a message.
It's sending a message. I think we have something here. Funny enough, The Batman is a 5-act movie. It just keeps going.
Sure,
I'm not complaining. So this allows itself to be pretty lengthy as well. We're verging into 3-hour territory. That's fine. Another thread to throw through this whole thing is Gordon. What is the GCPD doing here?
Initially, I was thinking, nothing. The police are useless.
No.
But you're right. So the police would already be very busy with a active gang war, active drug war in the streets. At the finale here, it could be the police are initially held off by building security, but ultimately like have to push through. So then at the end, it's Batman handing Freeze over to Gordon.
Does he handle? I'm imagining him like dropping Freeze to his knees in front of Gordon, like willingly going like, cuff me. Does he drop Daggett too? Like, here's both of these guys. You're gonna want to talk to both these guys.
I think to show the convincing that Freeze has gotten, he wouldn't be dropped to his knees. As far as a detail goes.
Oh, sure.
He would like already be cuffed or something. He'd be holding his wrists out.
Going willing.
Yeah,
going willing.
Yeah.
But does Daggett get thrown down? You're going to want to ask this guy a few questions.
Probably.
Commissioner, I'd like to make a statement. That's my Mr. Freeze voice.
Oh, that's actually not terrible.
Okay. Thank you.
Although maybe probably just because you brought up Black Phone, now I'm thinking Ethan Hawke for Freeze or Daggett.
Or Daggett. Daggett. I think Daggett would be better for him. Yeah. I think having a Lalo Salamanca. Now, Batista is quarter Filipino, I believe. So that gives us a little bit of diversity there. I thought of another thread we need to add, but I'll go there in a second.
I mean, he's animated, but the final bad guy in not Call of Duty, there's a video game that takes place in, I don't know if it's Colombia. I'm forgetting the whole thing, but he's this giant muscly dude who is tatted head to toe, and he runs drug cartel that has become the entire government.
Oh man.
And
This is a game?
Yeah.
It's like a Hitman game?
No, it's, oh my God. It's not
Modern Warfare. I'm not gonna be able to
it's
help
not
you here.
Sam Fisher. It's
Tom Clancy?
yes, it's a Tom. I think it's a Tom.
So
Clancy
it's a Splinter Cell game?
game. No.
Well, anyway, as
Bad
far as
job,
casting
Jim.
is concerned,
Bad form.
Mr. Freeze. This is not. We don't have to go into like huge casting conversation here, but Mr. Freeze is an opportunity to get another person of color in here, as opposed to, but Daggett as well. Like, there's an opportunity to diversify the cast in
Sure.
Bane and Mr. Freeze.
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Nope, not Uncharted. Jim, what are you doing?
There's so Gordon's involvement here is a lot of like Batman checking in.
It is Ghost Recon. It's a Ghost Recon.
It's a Ghost Recon.
I don't remember.
But that big
which
tatted
one.
up dude, that's our Bane model.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I ideally
Make 'em look like that.
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing like I'm scared of people who have face tattooed. So if our Bane is just this, imagine a dude in like an Armani suit, but he's covered in face tattoos. Ugh, that's creepy.
In fact, instead of doing like I imagine him putting on the I don't imagine him being a luchador in that he never takes the mask off. I imagine him putting the mask on because it covers the venom veins.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he's gonna like, all right, I need to go to war for my gang here. I need to go to the front lines.
Throw a
That's when he
mask
puts
on.
the mask on.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think
Something
we
like
need
that.
to give him the mouthpiece. Tom Hardy's Bane, The Dark Knight Rises Bane, gave people a completely different concept of Bane as he's always been in the comics. He's always been this.
Well, and then in Batman and Robin, he was just a
thug.
Yeah,
he was nothing.
He was a muscly lampshade.
He's a muscly lampshade as opposed to a sexy lampshade. Which brings up one final point here as we're nearing the end of the episode here. At least we should wrap up here.
Who's going to play Vicky Vale?
That's where I was going. Is the love interest or a female lead? We've written an entire movie without any women in it. And now, granted, the Batman
just the boys
has Zoe Kravitz in it as Catwoman. She's off on her own by the end of the Batman. I don't really feel like it's necessary to bring her back. I don't really want to see Catwoman in this movie. I'm not saying she can't come back in the future, but a female presence in here.
It's true. We have not.
I want to offer up a suggestion that I don't know if it works in what we've created here. It's just striking me now. Could Daggett be a woman?
Sure.
It kind of makes it difficult.
I don't like the intonations of powerful women need to be taken down.
That's I just wanted to put it out there.
The idea? What about the as far as the role? I guess we went with Dick Grayson instead of Carrie,
but flipping Carrie, flipping Robin to Carrie,
possibly. What if we put Vicky Vale in there? Vicky Vale was a reporter. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have to be the Kim Basinger type character. She doesn't have to be even a love interest. She could be a reporter trying to cover this gang war, trying to find out who Batman is, trying to find out how it all fits together.
She does offer us an opportunity to do a lot of exposition dumps by having put pin in that.
In fact, she could be the one that introduces Jim as commissioner in this movie because he's not commissioner in the first one.
Right. He's just lieutenant or captain. I think he's captain at this point. Rael. We have a female character from the first one. It's the mayor. Mayor.
Oh,
yeah. Bringing her back into the fold she could introduce the new commissioner as Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
She could be someone who is playing an active role in
trying to clean up the city.
To clean up the city. Like even let's play here.
Poison off of these streets.
Let's go into this territory. If she's like similar to what Harvey is like in The Dark Knight, where it's like, Gordon, I want to be involved here. Do not cut me out of this. It's important to me that this city recovers. I want information. You're my commissioner now. I want a real hands-on approach to this war on crime that we're having. Mm-hmm. It's like, Commissioner, you want to be involved. That involves some areas you might not want to go into. Like, yes, I understand the Batman is a presence. I want to talk to the Batman. Yeah, having her have
I know you know him.
I know you. I've met him. We're friends. Giving her a position of power. Well, she has that position of power and making demands. I don't know if that's enough of an active role, or it's not, certainly not large enough a role, but it brings a character from the first movie and continues her story.
It does.
I don't mind the Vicky Vale thing though as well. Like having a subplot of a reporter who is chronicling this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Vicky Vale's from the comics. I think Burton created her.
Burton made her.
Vicky Vale.
I know. I'm pretty sure there's other reporters though. I don't remember them.
I can think of some other female characters in the Bat universe. At one point, Bruce Wayne hires a bodyguard. Her name's Vesper. That was during the when Bruce Wayne is accused of murder. He hires a bodyguard. And
sure.
Her first appearance is in Batman 49. So Vicky Vale is from the comics. Yes, 1948. She a 12-page story entitled "Scoop of the Century," written by Bill Finger. So Vicky Vale got more roots than just the Tim Burton universe. Having someone out on the streets just reporting on this and collecting information about it. Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to be a subplot of any kind. Maybe drop either reference to or even put someone in the background, especially like at the right hand of Mayor Real. Real. Her new DA.
Harvey Dent presence. Okay. Yeah.
Leave some bread crumbs for whoever makes the third one.
Mm-hmm. You want it? We're leaving you Harvey Dent right here.
Yep. They left us they left us Bane.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. I think giving Rael a presence might be cool with Vicky Vale popping up here and there and being a subplot, like a C plot.
And what that does is it also gives the citizens of the city a story, right? We're already dealing with the criminals having a gang war. There's a whole city of people here that even in the first one were just sort of like a backdrop of the Batman must lead them out of the darkness. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, their voices I guess their voices were Real and the police, but we can give them more of a voice in showing Harvey Dent wanting to prosecute. Like I said, I'd only want it to be like it would be like he'd be there in a scene. We doesn't need to be a through line or anything like that. Sure. Just sort of backing up how you wanted Real to be like, I want a hands-on this and this. And so sort of
the DA wanting
with that, the DA is involved and get the newspapers involved.
Okay.
To inform the citizens on what's going on.
I could be convinced to also add in a Harvey Dent breadcrumb. We're risking bloating the hell out of this movie. Funny enough, the Batman, for as long as it is and as twisted as the plot is, it's pretty lean when it comes down to its cast. It is. So what we have with Daggett, Cobblepot, Bane, Freeze, Batman, Robin, Alfred, Real. And if we want to throw Vicky in there, that's a ninth character.
Real, I feel, is in there pretty much as she's in the first one.
The first one. Okay. So
Alfred honestly is in there as much as he's in the first one.
Okay. We're still keeping it lean then.
And Vale is almost more she's not even necessarily the perspective of the audience, but that's sort of what she is. She's sort of this, cuz she doesn't really have like an arc or anything. Not currently. We could probably fit one in, but it's not integral. It's more to be there to fill in some of the. Maybe it's not necessary. Maybe it is something that can be cut. But we're trying to.
Let me just say that we have the theme of redemption over vengeance, that justice over vengeance. We've given that to Robin. We're giving that to Freeze as well. That if Vicky as a reporter, as some sort of voice of the people, is discussing the redemption of Gotham after everything that's happened and the hope of the future, we might be able to give her some of the thematic elements that we're attempting to explore here.
Sure.
Or you're right, it could be something that's cut. It was just worth mentioning that this is a boys club kind of movie.
Yeah.
And so is the first one. And there could be room in here with further discussion to figure out, maybe Carrie is the way to go. Dick Grayson this Robin that we've created isn't so inherently necessary that it be Dick Grayson. It could just as easily be Carrie without changing a thing.
Or Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Well, you'd probably want to change the circus bit, but you wouldn't have to.
It's not so critical that it be that Robin that we could easily make an argument for it being Carrie.
Yeah.
I really
or
Stephanie.
I
actually was just about to say I don't think Stephanie would work because her origin as the daughter of a villain.
That's true.
Is fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
I would want to take that
sort of
her.
like Damien.
Yeah. So I while I like Stephanie Brown as a character, I like Spoiler. I like her in her short stint as Robin, and I think she's lower on the. I think Carrie or Dick Grayson / Jason Todd. Some amalgamation of all three of those, I could see working. And
dang, no, we did a great job. I was going to do this whole first act thing. The reason Bane comes in is because the initial leader of the sort of the
gang,
the gang's taking the venom is they're the mutants, and I was going to do a whole Dark Knight Returns thread
to make Carrie work.
To make Carrie work, to introduce several other things, and then to even possibly introduce the what do the Bat guys call themselves?
The like Man Bat? Oh no, the Sons of the Bat.
Sons of the Bat, yeah.
Nah,
and
too much.
Like
too much.
As far as like gang wars go, just introduce more gangs.
Too much for one movie. I like where your head's at, but I cut the mutants, cut the Sons of the Bat. Like, there's enough here that I feel like we could beat this out even further. I think there's enough here that we could write this. I don't feel like there's anything major, like any major holes that we're like, oh shoot, how do we go from A to B? It's still fuzzy. The whiteboard is pretty full, but yeah, I think so the whole demand was to add Robin.
The characters' motivations all follow logical progressions. I think
the demand,
especially for where they cross with each other.
You're right. They all cross over nicely. There's that great, like all the relationships between like the demand was to get Robin into this realistically, and I feel like we did it. I feel like we found a way to have Pattinson's Robin have a 15, 16-year-old sidekick, as damning as that might be. This kid's going to do it whether you like it or not, Bruce, right? Like that sort of give him the tools. I couldn't stop you. I think we found some nice contrivances to allow this to exist, and having the epilogue of this, of Bruce Wayne and our Robin, whether it's Dick or Carrie, standing beside each other, looking at the city and going like, well, what do we do now? Huh? Let's hit the road. Like, suit up. Let's do this. Like, we're Batman and Robin. Cool. So I as much as I would love to keep working on this, I think we're going to wrap up the episode here. Any final thoughts? Like, do you feel good? We didn't beat out scenes like that Batmobile scene in the Batman was. Oh, it's fine. That's so good. Yeah. We didn't describe anything necessarily like that. Our big, like a special, like the trailer worthy. We didn't describe a chase. Well, I guess. No, we didn't really describe a chase. Well, we can still keep playing with this. We'll keep talking after we're finished recording here. But I do think this will be it for the end of the episode. We'd love to know, Danny, if we did meet your demands today. So, and the listeners as well, everyone listening, hit us up if you agree or disagree, if you think we missed something, if you think we're way off, let us know. Whatever the case may be, you can message us directly at studiodemandsit.com on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. At Studio Demands It. If you're not already, you can subscribe to us on all your podcatchers of your choice. And if you feel like giving us a little 5-star review, you can do that in app. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. We would love it. We would love it. You can find me specifically, if you want to get to me directly, at TC's Big Head, which if you also want to reach Jim, you're still okay. You can still find Jim through me as well. Thank you to 6'5 Media for everything that they do for us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please check. There's 2 new shows added to the network this season. Excellent. Check them out. It's a lot of stuff to play with there. But that's it for this episode. We will be back again soon with another one of your demands to challenge and improve the world of cinema. I am TC. I am Jim. And Studio Demands It.